caveats there. I am a coach with Feed Your Soul Fitness, which is run by Randy Martin, who is a member of the West Metro Chamber, and I'm just really excited to talk to you about this topic today. Basically, we're going to talk just a little bit about goals, how to kind of set goals in a way that works for us, and kind of getting into some of the reasons that, I don't know if you're like me, where you might set a goal and then it's on your to-do list every time you're like, oh gosh, I still wanted to do that thing, I still haven't done that thing, I'm just going to put it on the list again, and maybe this time I'll actually do it, and then it never really happens. A lot of times I think that's because we're kind of approaching it in maybe not the most supportive way. So that is my specialty within Feed Your Soul Fitness. I've worked there as the accountability coach. I am a group fitness instructor. I'm also a certified professional life coach and a psychology graduate, a number of different kind of mental mindset things. And so I love really kind of diving into this topic. And we're going to talk a little bit about it today because you're all strong, powerful business owners yourself, and you know goals are important things to have. So a lot of what I think that we think about goal setting is coming at it from a wrong, maybe not the most supportive way. We think that setting goals comes down to willpower. If I was just more disciplined, I would lose the weight. If I was just more focused, I'd finally finish that book. If I was just, stronger, better, whatever, I could do it. And that's, maybe not the most helpful way to think about it. You're kind of beating yourself up a little bit. So I suppose it doesn't come down to willpower necessarily. We also tend to think about the outcomes. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to run a marathon. But we don't think about the process that will take us there. We just focus on that destination. We also sometimes base our goals on the shoulds of life. I should be making 6 figures. I should have, 25 recurring clients. I should do this. Or we start them from a place of ambivalence because we're like, oh, well, my friend always runs 5Ks. I should be able to run a 5K. Or my friend does this thing. I should be able to do that. And so we're not starting it because we want to. We're starting it because we're like, oh, maybe that's what I should desire for my life. We also sometimes think our goals have to be really firm and unchanging. We say, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. every single day. And, then the morning comes, you don't wake up at 6 a.m., suddenly we're beating ourselves up, we should be stronger, all this kind of stuff. Or sometimes, your goals ebb and flow. Maybe you had a rough night. Maybe your kid was homesick the day before and you were like exhausted from parenting all day and you just needed a little extra sleep in the morning. It's okay if your goals kind of shift. And lastly, we often have really strong intentions of like, oh, this time I'm really committed to this thing. This time I'm gonna do it. But we don't plan how we're gonna do it. We just kind of say it and think, oh, we'll be strong enough this time. And oftentimes we're just kind of setting ourselves up to go down that same path of maybe it not working out the way we want to. So real quick about me, why I feel like I can tell you a little bit about this. I'm a certified group fitness instructor, also a certified professional coach, associate certified coach through the International Coach Federation. Within my group fitness instructing, I'm really most interested in behavior change because that is ultimately what is happening when we're starting a new habit. We're changing our behavior, and that is easier said than done because we're all creatures of habit oftentimes, and it's difficult to plug things into our lives. I've worked with close to 100 life coaching clients on mindset and really love thinking about habit formation, personal development, all of those kinds of things. So let's talk about how we set goals. I gave you a little bit about how we're maybe approaching them in a way that's not as supportive. So I think the way that we can set goals is really getting an understanding of these 3 words that kind of show up here. And you'll notice these on your worksheet. You have a little half sheet. There is a column that has goals, habits, behaviors, and then a column next to it, action, aspirational, and automatic. And so looking at that, you can connect the lines. Goals are the aspirational piece. Our goals are what help us think, oh yeah, I wanna run the marathon, I wanna write the book, I wanna do these things. The habits are automatic things that just happen in our life. You wake up, you have a cup of coffee, you get home from work, you change your clothes, you know, maybe have lunch at work, go for a walk after. You have these automatic habits. And all of those habits are made up of behaviors, and the behaviors are the actual actions that you're taking. So, to end up at our goals, we need to have habits that support those goals in happening, and those habits consist of the behaviors that we're doing. So, my hot take on goal setting is that goals are these aspirational ideas that we have, but we often kind of, I'll describe it like a crock pot. You know, you set it, you forget it. You're like, oh, it'll be done. I'll come home and the chicken will be ready. But you can't really set goals like that. You need to take some action. It's more of that, you know, it doesn't have to be like a risotto where you're standing there stirring it and like constantly staring at it, but it needs to be something where you're adding flavor, you're, you know, paying attention. Is it burning? Is it not hot enough? You can't just hope it comes out being delicious. And so in order to create the goals, to make the goals happen, we need to have habits in our life that are supporting it, and those habits have to be made up of behaviors. So a lot of our clients, I'm with Feed Your Soul Fitness. We are a gym, nutrition, personal training, group fitness, and a lot of our clients come to us with goals, and maybe you have these goals too. I think they're common for a lot of people. These goals boil down to, I want to feel better, I want to be healthier. These are kind of big, broad things. And if we're looking at kind of what I talked about at the beginning with the outcomes of like, oh, I want to feel better. That is an excellent outcome, but there's a lot of awareness that you need to have about what is going to help you feel better. What is going to help you be healthier? Is it, you know, being able to do 10 push-ups? Is it having lower LDL cholesterol blood work? Is it, you know, I don't love it being a certain number on the scale because numbers on the scale are just a number, but you know, it can go into a body fat percentage, or maybe you're like, oh, if I was healthier, I would always have my water bottle with me, or if I was healthier, I would pack my lunch instead of getting takeout every day. So you can kind of decide what some of those behaviors or what some of those goals are, and then breaking that into, okay, what creates this? So the little worksheet piece that you have, you can jot down, and you can do this afterward, you can kind of take it with you. You can jot down what that goal is. Maybe it is be healthier, maybe it is, you know, I don't know, goals are so, like they can be really anything you want. But then from there you can break that into like, okay, what are the behaviors that exist for me if I'm creating that as a goal? And then the habits we'll talk about in just a second. So successful goals, as I've mentioned, are the result of those supportive behaviors that are happening for you. And so I want to talk a little bit about that behavior idea, because behavior change is really my favorite thing to talk about. So in order for something to be a behavior, it has to either happen or not happen. That can kind of be part of it. You know, it's a behavior, and if you're not doing it, the behavior is not doing it. So if that makes sense, you're either doing it or not doing it. And most of the time, the reason that our goals don't happen is because we're changing our behavior. If you sleep in every morning and suddenly you're like, oh, well, I want to be that person that goes to the 5:30 a.m. class before work, and you just say, okay, I just want to be that person. All right. That might be a little tricky to just decide to do all of a sudden. Sometimes we get in our head there being like, oh, well, I was strong and disciplined, it would just work. And as we talked about, that's not, maybe what's happening. So you have to acknowledge that when you're putting something like that in your life, you are changing a behavior. And as we know, the object in motion is gonna kind of continue in that motion unless we divert it into a different direction. Luckily for us, the last two decades have brought a ton of knowledge around behavior change. We talk about stuff like why something like Duolingo works, where it's very gamified, it's very fun. We talk about different, there's been all sorts of science that's happened around like smoking cessation and changing addictive behaviors. And so we can borrow from a lot of that knowledge that's happening to help us figure out how to do the things that we want to do. So we won't dive into all of these questions, but as you're thinking about the behaviors that support your goals, just some things you can ponder on. If your goal is, example, be healthier, you can ask yourself, how will I be able to tell when I am healthier? What are the tangible things that I can see that will tell me I am healthier? If you think about what exists in the life of someone who is healthy, is that a person who has meal prepped food in their fridge? Is that a person who goes to the gym 2 times a week? Is that a person who gets 8,000 steps every day? Is that a person who always has a water bottle with them? And then once you have that awareness of oh, that's what this means to me, you can start stepping into that. Thinking about, how it would feel to you to have accomplished that. Maybe you feel really proud of yourself. Maybe you feel, like you can show up better in your business because you're really locked in and trusting yourself to do the things you want to say, or the things you say you'll do. And then lastly, thinking about how you can help yourself stay accountable in this process of changing your behavior. So, just some quick behavior change tips. There's sort of an equation that's talked about. I'm not the math person, my spouse is the math person, but I understand this equation. The behavior action is the result of having 3 things: the motivation to do it, the ability to do it, and something prompting you to do it. So, using our lovely Christian Brothers automotive that we were just talking about, if your behavior is, I want to be that person who takes my car in for oil changes and gets my tires rotated, you have to have the motivation of okay, yeah, I want my car to work, I'm gonna do it. The ability is, oh, I know where I'm going, I just met this great person, I trust them, I'm gonna go there, that's the ability. And then the prompt is oh, I know I need to do this when I get to this many miles on my car, or this light came on, so I need to go do this. So you have that motivation to do it, the ability to do it, and the prompt encouraging you to take the action. And those prompts, as I just shared, it might be a light that comes on in your car. A prompt is really something in your environment. And it's important to acknowledge that your environment is going to shape whether or not you do the thing. And so if there isn't something in your environment to remind you, you're probably not gonna do it. I could say, oh, I wanna drink a glass of water first thing when I wake up every morning. Love it, great. If I go to bed and then I wake up the next morning and there's not something there to remind me, what's the likelihood that that's gonna be the exact first thought I have if I haven't prompted myself? And maybe I can put my phone alarm says drink some water, or I have a glass of water sitting next to my bed, or I have a glass of water, next to the sink in the bathroom, so I can prompt myself to take the action. And it's important to know too that if the triggers are around, that's also a big part of your environment. If you say, I want to eat healthier, but then at home you have the junk around, you've got the super processed things, those are gonna be in your environment. And even you're just asking yourself to have more willpower. Whereas if your environment is oh, I have this meal prepped soup that I made, I have my workout clothes set out already, I have these different things in your environment that are prompting you to take the actions that you want to take. So the rest of our behavior change tips are really locking in that supportive mindset by having that moment of decision. And if you're familiar with like James Clear, Atomic Habits, BJ Fogg, Tiny Habits, a lot of what is talked about there is the importance of connecting it to your identity. And so this has been a big one for me because obviously I enjoy working out. I'm a fitness coach. I compete in powerlifting. I do different things like that. But it wasn't easy. Like, I didn't just get into it and just be like, okay, I've got it figured out. I work out 5 times a week now. Everything's amazing. It was really helpful for me to have this shift of thinking of myself as an athlete. And all of a sudden, if I'm like, I identify as an athlete, suddenly I'm eating like an athlete. I'm sleeping like an athlete. I'm working out like an athlete. It's just this like different mindset where it's like, instead of being a person who works out, I think of myself as an athlete. And like, sure, I'm not going to the Olympics. I'm not even setting state records. I'm not doing any of that, but it's this like identity in my head of like, what if I think about myself that way? In my own journey of entrepreneurship, it was also helpful to think of myself as like a 6-figure business owner. Like when I'm first starting out, I barely have one life coaching client. I'm not making 6 figures yet, but to think of myself as like, okay, I'm a 6-figure business owner. Suddenly you're like, okay, how do I approach my day? How do I honor my time? What kind of things do I do in my free time? And it just kind of shifts that identity. So locking in that mindset, deciding this is who I am, this is something I want to do, I'm really committed to this. Then raising the stakes about it, telling someone, writing it down, signing up for something. If you sign up for a 10K and you see this like date on thing, I know Brandy right now is training for a couple triathlons, like for the first time. There's this element of like, she probably draws inspiration on those mornings she doesn't want to get up and go swimming to think like, okay, I'm signed up for this. I'm doing this. I've talked to people in my life about this. They're holding me accountable. Then baking in that feedback, that accountability, whether that's talking to people in your life, whether that's checking in with yourself, and that kind of goes back to that element of letting goals ebb and flow as you need to. If you thought like, okay, I'm gonna be that person who works out 5 times a week, and then suddenly you're like, actually, my body doesn't love 5 really intense workouts every week. Maybe my body wants 2 intense workouts and like 2 yoga classes or something. Like you can kind of change what it is, and then having your external environment really support it. And so this is the section where I've written habits, and you can jot down things to yourself to start stacking those habits. So maybe after a phone call with a client, you just do 10 air squats. And then it's like, okay, every time I am done talking to a client on the phone, I'm gonna do 10 air squats. Suddenly you've done 40 air squats today, and your legs are gonna be big and strong, and it's great. And so putting that little thing into your day attached to an existing habit. You check your email, you take a drink of water. Just little things like that, you kind of start to stack it together. And if you're looking for support with accountability, with health, with nutrition, anything like that, at Feed Your Soul Fitness, we really specialize in that level of accountability. Up until recently, because I'm moving, I have been the accountability coach at Feed Your Soul Fitness, which basically means I'm checking in with members with a text message every 6 to 8 weeks, just kind of either saying like, wow, you're really crushing it, or that gentle like, hey, we haven't seen you in a little bit, we're just checking in to make sure you're okay. Never in a shameful way, but always just in a like, hey, we're thinking of you kind of way. And so we really, you're not just like a random person coming in, you're actually a part of the community, and we are engaged with you. And so we offer personal training, we have large group fitness, 40-minute classes, we have pure strength training, which is more barbell focused. We have 15-pound barbells, we have anything that can be modified for anyone. Just this past weekend, we had this amazing strength showcase. One of our clients, he was 74 and had a heart attack last year, deadlifted 150 pounds, and like, it was just, it was such a fun day just seeing people show off their strength. We also offer nutrition support. with different programs as well as longer term programs. And in addition to kind of that piece of it, we really take it to that next level with accountability coaching. We celebrate milestones for all of our clients. You know, we love giving swag out with, you know, 500 plus club or 500 plus classes club, or, you know, your 50 plus classes club. We do all sorts of community events. You might be aware of the turkey trot that we host in the fall in Wheat Ridge. We do, you know, all sorts of different community events, and we love hosting seasonal challenges to keep our members engaged. Sometimes they're free challenges, sometimes they're paid, but they're always something that we offer to just kind of be more than just the gym that you're going to, but to really be something that's a big part of your life. And so you have access to a few things to plug in with us. There's these QR codes here. They're also listed on the little sheet that you've got. If your goals are anything related to nutrition or fitness, you can book a free nutrition audit just to kind of talk about what you're eating, if you're eating enough, how to fuel your body for the things that you want to do. I know as a business owner myself, I get into that habit sometimes where you're like, I'll eat after I finish this thing, and then suddenly it's 3 o'clock and you're like, holy cow, I haven't eaten lunch. Oh, and there's that like, I need something quick and fast to grab. And so Brandy is a busy business owner as well, and she can definitely support you in making sure you're eating throughout the day to fuel your body. We're also offering 3 free group classes if you want to come check us out. We would love to connect with you. But that is what I've got for you today. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two about how to kind of tackle your goals. I think, does anyone have any quick questions before we wrap up?
Do you only do in person, or do you build things for online?
Great question. Yes, so we do have virtual classes as well. Within our group fitness, we have strength and cardio classes that can be done from anywhere. We have some clients who live in the mountains. We have some clients who live on the East Coast. And so, yeah, not all of our classes, some of them have to happen in person, but we do have some virtual things. And right now we actually have an online only version of a challenge that we're getting ready to run because we really want everyone to feel a part of it. So yeah, we definitely do online things as well. Yeah.
What's the challenge you're getting ready to run?
Oh, all right. So it's called our Little Black Dress Challenge, or suit and tie challenge if you're like, I don't wanna wear a little black dress. And basically it's a 6-week challenge that is nutrition focused. It's got workouts, weekly calls. I'm actually leading the call tonight because it started yesterday, but I'm sure if you were like, oh my gosh, I need it, I'm sure we can find a way to make it happen. But it's different group experts talking about different topics. We have a version that's for non-members as well that comes with 6 weeks of workouts. And just a great way. There's a big celebration party at the end. Food, drinks, photographer. It's your chance if
red
you want
carpet.
Red carpet. If you want to wear the suit and tie or the little black dress, we're giving you an opportunity to do it. But it's really centered around kind of that self-love, self-confidence approach. So thanks for asking. All right. Well, we will go ahead and wrap.